5 Insidious Things About White Supremacy
Whoop, whoop, whoop.
by Steve Shives. And do you like the image? The image is,
it.
I'd be riddled with the white guilt, matey.
I don't see it.
You will see it here soon. All right, let's get on with this topic. Here we go. It's funny. All right, here we go. Feel free to tell me when to pause, because I know you. This is your topic there, Anthony.
Oh, you want me to talk about this?
White guy making a video about racism. Don't worry,
Okay,
I'm one of the
bad.
good ones. One of the good ones think of himself as one of the good ones? Am I one of the good ones? Guess we're going to find out. Here are 5 insidious things about white supremacy.
Okay, so there's the premise.
Do you have to? If you have to question that, then
Number
you know
one,
you're
it's
in the
easy
wrong
to
place.
miss. If you're white, that is. I'm guilty of this myself. For instance, a few months ago, I was one of those white folks looking around at a loss to explain how Donald Trump's presidential campaign could possibly have been this successful. Meanwhile, my black friends were standing a few feet away with their arms folded, giving me the side eye. The thing about living in a white supremacist culture, like this one, is that if you are a white person, like this one, most of the time you're not even aware of it. Oh, sure.
He says
Right,
white
so-
supremacist culture. Like, what's your evidence for this, fucking Steve?
Yeah.
Yeah, right?
That's like
I
a
love that.
backhanded way to fucking throw the white privilege card.
Jesus
my
Christ, the
God.
presupposition is strong.
I love that the first thing he says, though, is that you can't really see it. Most people can't see it, but it's there. It's like fairies.
Yeah, dude.
You know, I mean, I can see it. Why can't you see that fairy over there? Well,
You can't see it because
I
of your
can't see
white
it.
privilege.
We have this
that what it
aura.
is?
We have this
Yeah,
aura.
I mean
Yeah,
that's what I mean. It's a
blackberry.
backhanded way to throw that card out.
Of course, of course.
Yeah, that's a hell of a claim. Where's your substantiation, sir?
I'm following Joe's lead. He's told me to talk, so I'm talking.
Oh my god, yeah, but it's so funny that intro. I'm like that intro
Well,
and
it's-
everything. It's like, and like I like how he puts a little title underneath, like, oh, listen, I guess I'm going to be exercising my fucking white guilt here. Like he's
What does that
trying
say
to like
about
press
I
his
have
own
a black
balls.
president?
Yeah,
That's what it says.
But we have a black president, so like
Yeah.
the argument that Obama's a president, so there's more racism.
Yeah.
Oh, God damn it. Yeah.
All right, here we go.
Okay, so
Straw man.
Go ahead. We're gonna say Paul. Go.
no, just like okay, yeah. So the idea that it's a white supremacist system. If it was a white supremacist system, why would you allow people of color to be in positions of power?
Yeah, it's not like we live underneath a totalitarian fucking government, right?
Totalitarian.
It's a hard word.
Well,
to
it's
say.
not even that, but I don't know this. He's being presupposition. Jesus, I can't even say the word.
Presuppositional.
He's being a presuppositionalist. Yeah, you say it for me. Thank you.
There we go. You're welcome.
Presuppositionalist.
All right.
Yeah.
I can say it's the accent, dude.
Yeah, exactly. Here we go.
Sure, the ugly, overt racism comes through loud and clear, but so much of white supremacy is like dark matter, difficult to observe directly,
Name
but
dropping.
detectable through its effects. For example, number 2, it warps our justice system. When we say justice is blind, what we mean is justice is impartial. But impartial justice is impossible as long as we remain blind to the racial disparities that exist within our legal system.
Fucking racial disparities. I love when people use that fucking phrase, dude. Racial disparities.
What does this little thing say? I can't read it. Unless you're making a documentary.
Documentary about virtuous, non-racist cops. I'll have to ask you to turn off your camera.
Which is interesting because I know exactly where that's from. That's from where the police officer responded to a group of people who were on
Yes, I
private
saw
property trespassing, I believe, in a pool party,
Yeah.
refused to leave, and then, so on.
And she was resisting arrest too, and the orders from the cop. She was trying to sit up and everything, and she hit the cop a couple times. So yeah.
Like, I mean, shit. He tried to put her in the grass, whereas I don't know how you put it. Like, okay, you're surrounded by people who you're trying to control a situation. You're surrounded by people. You're trying to you contain and stuff like. What are you? How do you go about that and not be excessive? People just see it and automatically say, "Well, that's too much." It's like, well, you know, I mean, fuck.
He's just basically saying that, like, listen, there's so much of this white supremacism in America, you know, especially in our courts, our justice system, you know, the government, you know, and he's not going to give you any examples of why this is true or why he thinks this is true. I'm like, when it comes to groups of white supremacists in America, it's very minute, very fucking small, and they don't have anything to do when it comes to crimes against black people. They really don't when you come down to it, right? But he's just basically saying that white supremacy is in our justice system, and that's what we need to address. When there's no examples.
Can I just say
no examples of this? No examples, no truth to that.
Imagine, okay, but like, let's just all imagine for 1 second that we're all a police officer, right? And you were also a massive racist, black, white, whatever.
You gotta remember, you're bold, so.
Right. So I'm a black, bald cop, and I'm also a massive racist. I hate white people. How difficult would that make your job?
Yeah.
Like to then fulfill your ambitions to be a racist, or see what you feel is justice against white people. How difficult would that make it? It would make it impossibly hard on a long term. Nobody could find out, of course, right? Because it's not allowed. You're not allowed to be a racist police officer. Clearly, that's the law.
Yeah, can't.
So how difficult would it be? It would be impossible to be a full-time white black hating cop. Like you would get, you might get a job as a cop. I'm not saying you couldn't, and we've seen police injustices before that are either racially or not racially motivated. Just cops not doing a good job. We see it all the time. But then again, we see everybody doing a shit job all the time. Well, why do we hold cops to a different standard? Like if you're a surgeon and you fuck up a surgery, you kill somebody, well, I'm sorry, you're probably going to go to jail.
Yeah.
Or at least get a manslaughter charge, or at least get a massive fine or whatever.
It's just
the same thing goes for
license.
cops. Same thing goes for cops.
It's just amazing how people like Steve Shives are holding the justice system on such a low standard. It's just like, they're just so low. They're bottom of the barrel. We need to address this. And the issue is, well, white injustice. The white supremacy in our court system and shit like that. So it's like unfucking believable. No evidence. No evidence to fucking prove this. So, pretty sad.
Yeah, I mean, if there's going to be a case, I would argue against white supremacy. I would argue more for the fact that we give that much leeway to cops. I mean, if you're going to really argue because if you want to talk about abuse of power and all that other stuff, then you would go after that alone. When you're trying to argue that it's all because of white supremacy, then the argument kind of starts to shatter, and it's like it's not as credible as the fact of we just give police a lot of leeway, because we give police a lot of leeway in cases, and a lot of times it's warranted.
Yeah, I'm like, am I saying there's cops out there that are bad seeds? Of course there are. Of course there are. We all know that, and of course we would address that also.
They're human.
They're human.
Yeah.
They make mistakes.
No,
and,
I'm just saying his argument that it's all white supremacy. It's better to say that actually it's just because we give a lot more authority to cops, and we maybe should limit it. That would crack down on a lot of things too. If you don't have this air that you can do whatever the fuck you can do and get away with it too, you're not saying all, obviously.
Of course.
But some of them, when they get to that point, if you take that away, then obviously they're going to shit. Like police cams, things like that.
Yeah, and a lot of these police are using cams that are actually finding them not guilty on certain crimes too. We've seen a lot of videos out there where they're wearing and it's actually showing them that that people that they were trying to arrest were actually lying about what the fucking police officer did. There's one example that just came out 2 months ago where if it wasn't for the body cam, the fucking guy might have been facing charges, but he was found not guilty, and it was because of the body cam that he had on, which is just ridiculous. So when Jank makes the fucking, or has the narrative that, oh my God, over 100 years, oh my God, the cops were saying all fucking blacks were fucking lying, and all over these years, but now we have evidence, we have video cameras now. Oh my God, look, now we can see the evidence. Now we know what's going on, even though they skew the fucking evidence into their favor.
Yeah.
But now, like, when it comes to a cop having a body cam on, and it actually shows that he was actually adhering to protocol, now it's like, oh my God, that guy that was lying. The person he was trying to arrest is actually lying. Oh wow, geez, how about that? No story about that though from TYT. It's fucking amazing.
Yeah, it's the lovely thing that we always like to say. Not all. They like to use examples of things that go bad to say all of them, and we use example of this to say no, not all, or no. Sometimes not all the allegations are correct. Sometimes they lie their ass off.
Correct. Yeah.
It's like, he's trying to use anecdotal to be so general and to prove everything true, and that doesn't work that way.
All right, let's get back to Steve Shives here.
On average, white people are arrested less often, convicted less often, and given less severe sentences when they are convicted compared to blacks and Latinos. Whites are also...
Do we need to even respond to that one?
Not really. I don't think so.
I mean, we said it many times.
I'm like, dude, per capita, and who's committing more crimes there, Steve? Jesus fucking Christ.
Significantly less likely to die in police custody. White ex-convicts tend to have a much easier time finding work after they're released from prison than black ex-convicts. And a 2010 study by the Equal Justice Initiative found evidence of widespread illegal racial discrimination in jury selection. White supremacy is found in our police precincts, our courtrooms, our
hold on,
prisons.
wait.
Oh my God, dude.
I got a question. How does that happen when it comes to jury selections? Because you're going off of your peers, correct?
You go off your peers and like you get notices in the mail and shit like that. So basically, what he's saying is like,
No.
when they send out these notices, I guess they're being subjective when it comes to who they're gonna pick, and they look at the names or whatever. It's just ridiculous, dude. I'm like, I think that's probably what he means.
I mean,
by
I think
shit,
that's
but
more
it's
of
just
a broad
absolutely-
type of thing to try to bring up, you know?
Yeah, when it's jury selection, they just pick random people in that community to
Yeah.
come in, and they evaluate
Well,
those people, and they interview them, and there's an interview process, of course, when it goes
Oh, yeah, yeah.
that kind of shit. But
Well,
to say
and
that
I'm
they're
thinking,
selecting
too, they-
people and being biased, it's like absolute bullshit. Go, Paul.
I'm sorry. Yeah, they always, but the prosecution and the defense usually always tries to get the best jury stack for them possible. So there's
It's
some
more of a case
bias
thing.
inherent.
Yeah.
It's case by case by case. We'll have to see. I'd have to
course,
see
yeah.
that study too. What he's talking about, but
Yeah,
I mean,
that's what
yeah,
I'm saying.
of course
It
there's going to be
seems
some
too-
bias in each one because the jury, the defense lawyer is going to try his hardest to get what is ever sympathetic to his client.
Yeah.
And the prosecutor is going to get whatever is best for their case. There's going to be bias inherent in that.
Grant?
No, I was just repeating. It seems like a statement like that is just like it's too broad, you know, to be able to say on your own personal video that this happens. You know, it's too, it automatically just triggered a question like how does that happen?
Yeah, and he doesn't bring up any examples. He's going to bring up a fucking poll, which is the injustice, whatever the fuck he said, poll. Oh, I'll look into that
Already a
poll. I should have
biased
looked.
kind of
I
poll.
should have looked in that poll, but I didn't. So, Anthony, anything to say, or should we move on?
Just are we not going to play any more of this?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We got a couple minutes. left.
Just play a little bit more.
You
Yeah,
got it.
we're still on part 2.
Yeah.
There's like 3 minutes left of that.
But it reaches far beyond these places as well. It taints every part of our society, including things we see every day. Number 3, it whitewashes our popular media. Last year,
What
the
does he
University
see
of
right in Hagerstown? What state is Hagerstown in?
he's in
That's where he
Maryland.
lives. This is where this guy lives. Hagerstown, Maryland.
Maryland, yeah.
What was the last big thing that ever happened in Maryland?
I don't know.
Somebody Google that right now.
Well, Baltimore.
Nothing happened.
Dude, I'm in a more rural area than he is, and I'm seeing a lot more than he does.
I would just love to get into his head a little bit. I would love to sit down and have a beer with him just to see what he's like, just to get that kind of vibe off him.
Joe did.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, I know, long enough, and you didn't have the order.
I didn't have a beer with him. I had a beer, but he didn't.
You
have
had a beer, yeah.
Yeah, but yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
so,
I saw the body language that he exhibited when he met you.
The shoulders are doing all this kind of shit. He's uncomfortable as shit. Can't fucking sit right.
Yeah, dude. He was
Like, he literally has the shoulders of just a clothes hanger, just one of those metal clothes hangers.
Yeah.
That's what your shirt looks like. An old T-shirt looks like if you just put a clothes hanger on it. I mean, all right, I'm being ad hom, but he's not saying anything. He's not saying anything of worth whatsoever. All he's doing is saying that America is inherently racist, the police are inherently racist, and fuck white people.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
That's what this video is all about.
It's exactly what he's doing. So.
That's it.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
want to-
this is his whole agenda. But I don't think. But do we feel right? And this is a question out to the audience, I guess. Do we really feel that this is what he actually thinks? Do you think he's trying to portray this message, or do you think the message is kind of, or do you think he's trying to give a different message and it's just coming across wrong? I'm
He's
trying to
just
give the guy.
virtue
No,
signaling at best.
No,
man.
I think it's his true feelings on the situation. To be honest with you, but like we saw.
I tried to get a handle on it.
Well, you remember the video we played last night with
Yeah.
Steve Shives in that interview?
Yes.
You know,
Yeah.
I mean, like they brought up no fucking points on why they felt this way against the amazing atheist. No fucking points. Just saying he's a fucking racist. That's all the narrative was throughout
Yep.
the whole fucking video.
Well,
no,
So he just said, "I'd rather
No
watch
quotes.
a 20-minute video of that broom."
no quotes. Yeah, 20 minutes of that broom.
But then He's
Go
done the
on.
same thing. He's vague. So I looked at the video we're watching right now, the on YouTube, and of course he doesn't actually cite the survey, so you can't go look at what the fuck he's talking about. It's a
did the same thing. I wanted
it's
to
a
see if you'd
weasel
link that.
thing. Yeah, no, it's a Weasley thing that a lot of people do when they're not really telling the full truth. If you reference something, you really should. They're big on all these things. You can prove this thing. Well, if you can prove it, sir, reference the survey so I can see the evidence for myself.
You're correct, Paul. And what he's doing there, you're 100% right. Great fucking point to bring up. Is like he never references sources. So what he'll do is he's like, well, if I cite the source, most people are not going to listen to what that source is, and Google it and spend 5-10 minutes trying to find that fucking study. Because most people are not going to do that. But if he has it in a description box, it's easy just to do click and evaluate that information and maybe point out that maybe he's being biased. That's a great point, Paul. Because he never does that. So let's move on here.
I mean, just if you're asserting things, I would rather, like, if you're trying to, we're all pining here on things. This is our opinions on various things.
Yeah.
But if you're going to try to actually sort, or like cite specifically, you make a video citing specifically, this is why you think the way you do. Other ones usually cite where you got the goddamn information from. And that gives me, for me, gives you more credibility than just saying, oh, there was a survey in 2010. Don't actually name what the survey was exactly. All this stuff. Just say because of this is the conclusions from there. Well, okay, maybe that is, maybe it's not. I don't know. I'll have to go look at it myself if I can fucking find it. But other people won't do the legwork. Well, especially not. I don't think his audience who loves when you keep. You just keep with the narrative and keep going and keep this oppression, this whole fucking horrible system.
Yeah, racism and shit like that. And yeah, I'm like, when I make my videos, if I cite anything in my videos, I always put sources, multiple sources all the time. So let's continue here. Let's watch the rest of the video and then we'll go from there because it's only like another 2.5 minutes long.
Southern California's Annenberg School for Communications and Journalism examined diversity in Hollywood and found that only 7% of films and 19% of network TV shows had casts with ethnic diversity comparable to that of the overall U.S. population. Related to this is what's known as the white default, where unless another ethnicity is specified, people are generally assumed to be white. Consider this alongside the fact that those who control production and casting of films and TV shows are also mostly white folks, and you can see where this problem comes from. Number 4, it shapes our perceptions of each other. Studies have shown that white people tend to feel less empathy for the suffering of black people compared to the suffering of white people.
Hold on.
Good, Paul. I just wanted to play through a guy. We're run behind.
God damn it.
Yeah.
No. Because he's bullshitting. I know what he's talking about. I know the survey he's talking about, and it was a flawed methodology. It's a flawed finding, and here, news shock here, by the way, all races do this. Whites feel in-group preference to whites. Blacks feel in-group preference to blacks. Asians feel in-group preference to Asians. Dun, motherfucker.
Correct. Great point, Paul. Thank you for telling me to pause that, by the way.
Very good. But not even that. Okay, he's talking about the white default. Well, here's a problem, sir. You also go to a white default because they're. I know this sounds like whatever, but they're also the people you can put as a villain too, and not get a horrible backlash from a large group of people because oh my God, it's a stereotypical Asian villain, stereotypical black villain, it's stereotypical this. When you have people in certain roles, if they're not like the best roles possible, or they're not like the best moral roles possible, you can also put people in that role and not get that outrage that comes from the social justice warriors and these people who take everything so goddamn seriously. And instead of looking at the character and looking at the actual role itself, they look only at what they see in skin pigment because they're fucking ignorant.
Damn. Yeah. Anthony, anything, or should I play the rest?
Joe, you're right. Okay, just so the rest of the chat. Joe keeps telling me off for not talking. Right.
That's your video. Everybody else is talking. You're not.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, everybody's making a point. I don't want to just over talk. I get called out on that all the time.
When somebody ends, you talk. It's that simple.
Going back to when he talked about.
Grant has something to say.
Good, Grant.
Going back to where he said, it was like 7% of movies and what was it, like 19% of like television shows, don't or only show like what goes on, like that. What did he say? It was like it shows what actually goes on and what
Reflects the ethnic diversity.
Yeah. Yeah, but if you take that average of, that median average between 9 and 17, you're right at 13%. It looks more like it's showing, a reflection of the population itself. Nobody's... It goes back to that thing with, remember when they were having the Oscars or whatever, and they complained about not enough black people getting nominated or anything like that? Yeah, I relate it to that. It's a direct reflection of the population.
I mean, if he's arguing that there should be more, then okay, fine, that's an argument you can have. But then you go into what is more? What's the point of equality? Does it have to be 50-50? Does it have to be reflecting exactly? Every single show has to have it? Is it to 100% equality? What are you talking about? Okay, and then on the conversely, do we have to make other shows have to do you want to force every single thing to have a certain? Where I'm going with this, do you want to have everything have to reflect things, or can you actually let people do whatever they think is good for that particular thing?
Yeah.
Or you want to constrain them so that they have to think about, oh my God, is it going to reflect well enough that so people don't get pissed off?
Yeah.
Do they think about that with other shows? Certain shows, I don't think so.
Yeah, exactly.
My pint shot is going to be, just look at the graphic he's chosen to use. And this is a guy that has chosen this graphic. He has 55,000 subs pretty much. And he's chosen that graphic as a backdrop to what he's going to say.
It's amazing.
Which basically echoes his narrative. That's his narrative right now. That's what he's saying. That people view young white kids as innocent and young black kids as thugs.
Yep.
This is absolutely untrue.
It's a good point.
Absolutely untrue, unless they live in Chicago, and they probably are.
I have a niece that I consider a thug, and I consider she's goddamn that little.
There you go, right? Yeah, exactly, right. That little fucking bitch.
All right, we're running a little behind. Let's watch the rest
Cocky
of this.
Just play it through, man.
Yeah, let's play it through, man. We're running way behind tonight, so. Yeah.
Children as being older and less innocent than white children in the same age group. White folks are also much more likely to feel that racism is no longer a problem. And the thing is, it's not. For us, that's what white supremacy is. But the good news is these biases are the result of socialization. They're not innate. White people aren't born with dehumanizing attitudes about people of color already in place. These are things that we learn, which means that we can also learn to do better. But if we're going to learn to do better, we first must be honest enough to face one final fact about white supremacy.
Oh, here we go.
Number 5, it affects everyone. Correcting these racial imbalances will require conscious effort. White folks, like me, will have to learn to recognize and compensate for the implicit biases we harbor in favor of people who look like us. That won't be easy. Us white folks tend to get pretty defensive whenever anyone suggests that we might possibly harbor some racist attitudes, however unwittingly. We tend to overlook our complicity in broad social trends and go straight to aggressive self-absolution. This is a tendency that we are going to have to overcome, not just for the good of everyone who isn't white, but also for ourselves. Because while white people are not victims of white supremacy, we are still affected by it. People of color stand to be liberated from oppression, but white folks stand to be liberated from the prejudice and cultural myopia that generate and maintain that oppression. And that won't be easy, but sometimes the most difficult journey is also the one most worth taking. The hardest part is picking only 5.
So there you have it, everybody. Fuck white people. Black people can't be racist. There's only white supremacy in America. There's no black supremacy or any other supremacy. We have to feel guilty. We have to look at the black demographic.
Yeah,
with not wearing goggles in reality. Just fuck reality, right? We're supposed to adhere to this SJW narrative and say, you know what, minorities can't be racist. That's just absolute bullshit. And for him, he's riddled with this white fucking guilt. I'm like, dude, if you did not notice that in that fucking video, holy shit, dude.
See, that's what I was going to say. What he's doing here is basically passively telling everybody to stop objectively pointing out the facts and just find whatever guilt you have and wallow in it.
Yeah, I'm like, this is the type of person that'll bring up slavery, which I'm surprised he didn't fucking bring up, or segregation back in the the 40s and 50s. Oh my God, Jesus Christ, I'm surprised he didn't bring that the fuck up. But he's talking about the here and now, which is this isn't true, Steve. It's not true. Okay.
See, now people are going to say that this is the defensiveness that he's talking about. But the problem that I saw, or I was listening to it, and that's why I was cringing and holding my forehead and just kind of, is because it's not just the mere hint or the mere thought that people are this way. It's not just, oh, you might think this. It's a bald-faced accusation every single time that people like Steve say these type of things like, oh, but we're just saying maybe you should think about this, or maybe you should think about the possibility of something. No, it's never like that. That's more of a, oh, we're a victim. Oh, look, don't react to what we're saying. Don't react to the fact that we're actually accusing you. We're actually saying this because he's talking about how everyone is part of this, whether they know it or not. Everyone's part of it, and everyone has this in them. So when they say, well, when people disagree with it, this is the way it is. What it actually means is that you're proving his accusation true because you don't agree with what he says. You're being defensive, and when you say, "Well, no, I'm not a racist," you're just proving him true. It's a fucking Kafka trap, and it's bullshit. I'm not going to play into it, Steve. Fuck you.
It's just amazing how he dismisses our judicial system and what the processes are, and claim that, hey, listen, we got video cameras out there, we got this, we got that, we have the evidence, to put this criminal in jail. Right, but no, we have people, we have judges, we have cops that are just white supremacists out there, and this is what we need to tackle when there's zero evidence of that, zero, and it sickens me. Anthony, you want to talk, or are you going to stay on Twitter?
I was DMing TJ.
All right, which your okay? This is probably what you've been doing all fucking night. But anything on this since it was your topic? Any conclusion?
Yeah, he's a cunt. He's a wanker. What the fuck do you want to say about him?
Okay.
Absolute fucking cook white twat.
Good.
Leave it there.
Good.
Just fade out to another video then.
Good. Grant, anything else before we move on?
I'm good, man.
All right, let's move on to Sacramento. I think that's the next topic. Yeah.